Ah yes, the game that started it all. Now to find a good clip to commemorate the occasion.
Perfection.
Quick note, originally I wanted to do this review as a pair with Zero 2, similar to how I did Rance 5D and 6, you know, Beauty and the Beast. And honestly, I do find this new bundle to be in a similar situation. But I really just want to play Quest, guys. Please, I've waited long enough. If you want my quick opinion of Zero 2 from memory, it's a solid game. There's a little bit of guy dang it from time to time, but not nearly as much as Zero 1. The game was fun. It introduced some of the most popular characters in the entire franchise, and has a badass yet funny conclusion that really fits into the Rance style people love. Sure, it's not as grandiose as like 6 or Sengoku. Both Zero 1 and Zero 2 are mostly isolated stories, but it's generally what you would want, more Rance, and in a mostly traditional RPG format. Now let's talk about the not a traditional RPG, Rance 01. Okay, maybe I'm being a little harsh on poor Zero 1 here, because from a story standpoint, this is some A+ quality Rance. I think I've been on the record saying that older AliceSoft titles are a bit mixed when it comes to their scripts and writing styles, with the Beat series and Kichi Rance standing out in my mind, but unless Zero 1 was heavily rewritten from its original 1989 script, I have to recant that statement. Rance is in his element here. He's childish, hedonistic, sexist, but with that comedic lack of maliciousness unique to the character. That is why I will forever believe that Rance is the perfect eroge protagonist, because he perfectly reflects what gamers are.
Because this is what it does, it appeals to like the male fantasy.
Yo, hold up now. Before this joke gets a bit too spicy for its own good, let me explain. I'm not saying all gamers are sex-best, but when most people play a game, they aren't considering what is socially acceptable in real life in their decisions. No, you go to that house and break all the stuff in it because you want gold. You go on a quest, not for the greater good of society, no, because beating up niggas is fun. You don't fight off giant space aliens so that on your day of reckoning you can look up at God and say, I saved the galaxy from the Reapers. No! You do it because you want to fire off a nuclear missile launcher, stare at a latex covered ass for way too long, and be seen as a goddamn hero while making out with your hot alien girlfriend.
Wow, this got off topic real fast.
My point is, you play video games to have fun, Rance goes on adventures to have fun, and you play eroge to screw You play eroge to screw anime babes, and Rance goes on adventures to... It's basically a match made in heaven, and like I said earlier, Rance doesn't do what he does for malicious purposes most of the time, the same way a player cuts down hordes of enemies but doesn't really think about it until they reach that one bitch who murders you like 5 times without even blinking.
I will fuck you!
Back on topic. A quick summary of the story is that Rance goes on a quest to find a girl by the name of Hikari, and ventures to a big fancy kingdom full of monsters, secrets, all while constantly being distracted by babes who are already Rance's girlfriend, they just don't know it yet.
Jesus.
So basically, if you've seen the Rance 01 anime, you have already gotten the main beats of the story. So why play the game if you have already seen the anime? Well, first off, you miss out on absolute gems like this. But more importantly, the anime, while good, especially for a hentai OVA, is only the main beats. It doesn't include seeing the queen of the arena walking around in girly clothing. It doesn't include the mysterious case of the castle's missing bread. And it also doesn't include cameos from some influential characters in the lore just hanging around in the first game. There are just so many things that the OVA didn't bother to include, as well as some things that just wouldn't have translated well to an anime anyway. But we aren't here to talk about the anime, or the overarching Rance universe. Simply put, the story itself is a home run. The presentation, on the other hand, well, the Rance series doesn't stop being allergic to 16:9 ratios until the last two games, so be ready for 01 to sit in the middle of your desktop screen like a lone Hawaiian island. But hey, AliceSoft makes this tiny box work for them with a really unique UI design. And in regards to CGs, we got 4 pages worth, a solid count, though the latter sections are devoted to Gal Monster cheesecake collecting rather than actual plot or H-related content. In terms of the quality of the H scenes, well, it's still A+. I don't know why you'd expect anything less from AliceSoft. I pretty much say this in every review, but the scenes are shorter than most eroge, with less grunts and pleasured moans, and instead having more actual writing in it, taking advantage of the characters, their personalities, and the environments they are in when Rance suddenly decides it's dangling time. I don't know, I'm not trying to be the arbiter of creative writing here, my scripts look like they were made by a 3rd grader. But it's just one of those things that stands out to me. I've never felt the need to skip an H scene in a Rance game. But, well, in terms of skipping, I guess it's about time to talk about the gameplay, so here we go. Okay, I'm just going to be frank here. I'm not a fan of adventure games, so that is going to color my opinion of this game a lot. If you are the type to enjoy clicking around, memorizing tiny bits of information in order to make any progress, as well as just trying random things when even that doesn't work, I'd say this game is more your speed, but it simply lacks the tools required to make that experience fun to anyone outside of that core genre audience. And normally I wouldn't really fault the game for that, but the Rance series kinda spans multiple different genres, so I would hope for some extra care in those areas. With that said, still a better experience than the original 1989 version. So let's talk adventure game. In Rance 01, the main lay of the land is to go around talking to people and searching for things, which basically means repeatedly clicking all the different sidebar options, hoping for a new one to pop up. On the plus side, this means there's just so much of that premium Rance series dialogue to find in the game. Some of these moments really led to some of the biggest laughs I've had in a while. On the other hand though, there is a lot of optional content, aka missable content, in this game, like surprisingly so. Hing many of the girls in the game is a puzzle in itself, and while most of them only require grinding, a few are, let's say, more difficult to obtain. Having the chocolate thief waifu simply walk away after giving her a key item, despite knowing how that moment played out in the OVA, completely threw me off. Now I'm not saying missable content is bad, because that sort of thing can generate a certain level of replay value. But not only did my playthrough suffer from a bit of a dry spell in regards to H content because of this, but more importantly, the game itself doesn't have a new game plus mechanic, meaning no holding over levels or items to make the CG hunting convenient. And when it comes to just playing it again, the combat kinda makes that a tough sell. Oh god, not again. No, it's not as bad as 5D. Nothing is as bad as 5D. This game could literally delete your save file on death and it wouldn't be as bad as 5D.
Call my therapist.
On that note, the game overs are fairly generous, as the game autosaves at the start of a dungeon run. So this game can be brute forced if you just can't be bothered. But the combat is something. You don't have attacks, rather you fight using tokens that you collect throughout the game, some with cooldowns and some that are consumed on use. I don't hate this idea, but it did wear out its welcome about 2/3 into the game, mainly because it makes leveling not fun. all you get from leveling is some health, which doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things because the defense of your chips will protect you more than any amount of health will. Sometimes a luck bonus that I swear did nothing despite both the game and the wiki saying it's a crit bonus. And rarely the ability to hold more items. That last one is the one benefit to leveling that is tangible and feels good, yet is the least often to occur. Humor is by far this game's strongest point. I really just want to hammer that in. I know this is the gameplay section, but really, this is the funniest eroge I've ever played. Hell, you know what? I'd actually go as far to say that this is funnier than its more impressive brothers Sengoku and Rance 6. Rance 01 isn't my favorite game in the series, but it is a solid remake of the original 1989 classic. Adventure games aren't really my jam. I prefer something with a bit more meat to the gameplay section, but the story is as fantastic as one would expect as the launch point for a 29-year franchise, and you know, the greatest male eroge protagonist ever seen. Despite that though, I have to say that this shouldn't be anyone's first Rance experience. Now I know that sounds like one of those crazy, this is the order you're supposed to read the Fate series in post, but as much as I love the story, gameplay is paramount in a video game, and if I'm brutally honest, I don't think AliceSoft will ever match the heights of their own creation Sengoku Rance. But this is a 01 review, and as far as 01 goes, it's okay. I would, however, highly recommend using a guide for this game in order to get all the content in one playthrough. Not the glowing review I had hoped this would be, but life's full of disappointments. So my final rating for Rance 01 and 02 by proxy is a buy plus. And yes, 02 being bundled in did boost the final score. Smart move, Mountain Gamer. So there you have it. That's my opinions on Rance 01. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, and I'll see you guys next time. Hopefully soon, because there is something I really want to talk to my brothers about. But until then, matane.